Hey, sky blue fishing here. Out here at the lake. Beautiful, beautiful day. Mm-hmm. He got the worm with that hitch. He got the worm with that hitch. Fishy! Hey, buddy. Out here at the lake. Just threw out a couple lines. Got a massive hit a second ago. Re-rigging. Beautiful afternoon. We had about 6 days of real interesting stormy weather. First real nice day in a while. Sunshine and little clouds here and there. How have you been, my friend? Oh yeah, let's get some of these beautiful trout. Let's get some of these trout on the line. Come on, big fishies. Come on, lovely fishies. Yeah, it really is nice. The wind was whipping like a half hour ago. It's gentle right now. It's just perfect. Welcome, welcome, everybody. Make sure you double tap. Double tap. If you're in here visiting, just say hi. Yeah, I missed a real good strike about 10 minutes ago, but I just wanted to test it out. I had a float out there for a bit, wanted to see what the current was doing. Had a jig on. Saw a couple trout jumping. It's hard to gauge the depth right now. We had a lot of rain. It rose the water up probably 3 feet. It's a little harder with a float. It's one of my favorite ways of doing it. I'm in Northern California, Josh. Here by Mount Shasta, California, about an hour from the Oregon border. Out here at a beautiful lake. It's not the biggest lake. Oh, it's perfect this time of day. Fishing for trout. We got rainbow trout in here. We got German brown trout. You got bass, bluegill. Oh, thanks, Josh. Appreciate it. Yeah, it really is nice. We had a pretty intense weather for about 5 days in a row. It was the first sunny day we've had. Got a bunch of seagulls around us. I can always tell if it was a real intense storm at the coast if the seagulls are here. I'm about as far as the crow flies, about an hour or so from the coast. That's the west coast of the U.S. We're approaching that golden couple hours so that the trout start getting active. They tend to be super active in the morning, super active in the evening. Probably in the next week or so, I imagine a lot of the other fish that have been hibernating, they'll start coming out, which is good. Get some bass fishing in if we choose. That gentle wind's picking up. A lot of times it's fun just relaxing here. It's never guaranteed to catch something, but you sure will have a good time. It's relaxing. You got about 4 or 5 cool species of duck. Tackle box kind of thing, it ends up being your own kind of personal thing. I have a backpack type one that I enjoy using because most of the places I go to, I'm a little distance away from my car. So I have like a fishing backpack that I got from yeah, the way mine has it has a bunch of like little zipper pockets and stuff like that all over it, and so you got these little side ones that hold like 5 or 6 perfect little canisters of power bait. You got little slots that you can drop a small little container. They usually come with these trays in them and stuff like that. So I just go to Bass Pro Shop, something like that, and I've looked and gotten, I think, 2 different backpacks. You can just get the little tackle box itself, and that works out well. But I kind of like the ones like that, and they'll come with like 4 trays, and then you can put your weights and hooks and swivels in one, and spinners and stuff like that in the other, and floats. And those backpacks have, like I said, they have like 5 or 6 pockets. And the one I prefer has this big opening in the top. That way I can put my worms and my little canisters of worms in there, and I can put my towels and my stringer and a pair of pliers, a few things like that. So I've always liked those. Gen X, how you doing? Nice to see you. Yeah, a lot of people like just a regular old standard tackle box like that, and they all work pretty much the same. I found that just for my style that I'm not on flat ground. I'm often in places that I need to just have a backpack that I can lean up against something, and then yeah, let me see if I can get my backpack around for you. I'm actually just carrying a regular old school backpack today. Nothing too crazy today. I left my other one that I was telling you about with all those compartments and stuff like that at home because it's been raining. It's been really stormy here, and I wasn't guaranteed of the weather. So I brought my regular old rough sack style backpack. I just noticed I have 3 of them. I have one for the ultimate like rafting experience that's made of the stuff that these waterproof bags are for when you whitewater raft. So I use that one for when it's just downpouring. It's backpack style, and it works just like I forget the name of those dry bags. Yeah, it works just like a dry bag, and it's like this hard plastic. Then I use that one there, and then the one I was telling you about, it's about I think I've had 2 or 3 of them over time. They're about $80, and they work nice. I think one of the last ones I had, it was a Bass Pro Shop. You guys might be able to hear the osprey. We just got the ospreys back here. Yeah, trout fishing. They stock it, but there's a ton of holdover trout here in this beautiful lake. I think there's 27, 28 pounders are the record. I've gotten about 26, 27-inch fish before. So if I get lucky, you get something in the 20 range, it's a good fight, and it's a massive fish. And they're fish that have been here for 4 years or so. So it's just an amazingly good fish if you like to eat fish. Yeah. Our ospreys just came back in town about a week ago. They go all the way down to Brazil. They go all the way down to the jungles and Amazon River, I think it was, that they go down, hang out, hibernate, or eat, live, and everything like that. And they come all the way back up here. No, I just set up about 5 minutes, 10 minutes before I turned on the live. So I've been here for about 20 minutes total. Got a real good hit that stripped off my worm right before I turned on the live. So I wanted to test it. And no, nothing yet. But we're it's a little early for us. The fish here kind of have this golden window right before dark and right early morning. But it's I tried it out last week or so around this time just to give it a test, and about close to this time I started catching good fish. I'm not a power bait guy. I used to use it for a while. It's an interesting thing to use. I noticed that there's certain fish here in this place that like to eat the power bait, and then there's fish that like to eat the worms and spinners and jigs and things like that. And the oh yeah, no worries, Fishy. Appreciate you, brother. And so when I want some of these big giant holdover fish, I find that they don't really enjoy the power bait so much. The young stalker fish are the guys that will eat those. I don't know what an NRV bait is. Billy Bob, how you doing, man? Got us a helicopter flying by. It's a yellow one, that's interesting. I fish with the eggs from the trout that I catch a lot here, and so I think I've caught 6 fish this fall and winter that have been full of eggs, and so I cure them like I do steelhead and salmon eggs. I have a borax combination that's got like 5 or 6 other things that each one has a little bit of different. It's got dyes in them. It'll make them pink, red, whatever you're after. It'll firm the eggs up to whatever consistency you desire. If you get crazy and kind of forget about them, you'll come back and it's like a gummy bear. They just gelatinized up, and you know, they'll last a long time. They can get roughed up, beat up in the water like that. They never seem to get decompose very easy. But the fish kind of know the difference. But if you use a real fresh set that doesn't have anything to it, then you got to use that within like 2 weeks of getting it, and then it tends to fall apart, fall off your hook a lot. In an area where within an hour of me in multiple directions, I have lots of great rivers. So I steelhead and salmon fish. California's gone through some interesting parts of drought related issues on our rivers. Salmon, for example, they lay their eggs, and then those fish return 4 to 5 years later to that water source. So when we had droughts here 4 or 5 years ago, it's affecting. Skullface, hey man, that's so nice to have you here. Just running down some salmon knowledge about why on that like 4-year return cycle we get affected by whatever happened 4 or 5 years ago. And so even though the waters are great right now and they look wonderful, when the salmon are laying fish right now, laying eggs, I should say, they'll do great. The 4 years from now, the return will be wonderful. But since 4 years ago or so, the 6 years ago, even when we had issues that affected last year and the year before, we had such terrible drought issues here that the water was just terrible, low, real hot, not good for a salmon population, not little juveniles. So those runs got really messed up, and so then the last 2 years they've canceled the salmon fishing, and we'll find out here. They start going to all these panels and voting on everything in this month, and then next month they let everybody know if salmon season's open again. But I mean, they closed it all in California, so that really affected people. Yeah, so it's been interesting. And one of the main rivers I fish around here, it's called the Klamath. It had a dam removal on it, and so you had this dam that was there, and it had 100 years of silt buildup that was behind that dam. And so when they removed it, it just opened it up, and for literally last year and a half, every inch of water down from where that dam was is just like a mud puddle. And if you go there anytime, there's just a fresh like 5 inches of silt everywhere and everything you touch when you walk out there with your waders. Hey, Matthew, Mommy's World. Nice having you here. And welcome, welcome, welcome. We're in beautiful Mount Shasta, California, about an hour from the Oregon border. We got beautiful scenery, as you guys can see. Pier, hey, hey, hey. We're hoping to get trout. Got a good hit a little bit ago, and I mean it's a little early for when the big boys like to bite around here. But I'll notice when I take those eggs, and I usually make spawn sacks. So you got this material. It's kind of like a mesh fabric. Like there's kind of reminds you of like a pair of nylons women would wear. And oh yep, that's I was from Portland, Oregon originally, and so I grew up there as a youngster and a young teen and 30-year-old and stuff like that. And so I would leave Portland and I would go to visit my relatives in LA, or I'd go to the Bay Area. Mount Shasta would be a stopover. Stop and get a sandwich and just enjoy my afternoon, because it was about halfway between the Bay and Portland, and kind of fell in love with it there. And I said, someday maybe I'll think about moving to Mount Shasta. That's what sparked it all. It's a tourist-based town, so it really thrives on people, and so we it gets crowded. This lake I'm at gets tons of boaters, kayakers. This bank across the way will get full of people. Back mountain, hey, hey, hey. Out here fishing, through the lines in. I'm gonna catch a monster. I always have to remind myself that no 2 days of fishing are alike. No 2 days of fishing are the same ever. Yeah, I'll go back to a place. I'm like, oh yeah, I just caught that big one right over there, and I want to throw a same kind of bait in that same place that I just caught one 5 days ago at. Yeah, it's lovely here, and so then I just like, no, every time I have to go out there, I kind of just have to use the same old kind of starter techniques, which is kind of bounce around different places, find different depths, different baits, till you find, pattern the fish. They figure out what they're biting on and where they're biting. Yeah, we had about a 5-day storm. It was intense. I think I'm at 3,600 feet. And so the snow level was 4,500 feet. So we got just rained on, but right above us is all snow. So when you get on any of the roads around here and look, there's like this beautiful white line that just covers the trees just above the trees right around me now. The mountain itself, Mount Shasta, the very top, 14,000, like 300 feet, something like that. It probably got 6 feet of snow over the last 6 days. Ooh, yeah, I'd imagine. Wyoming's beautiful. I always drive through Wyoming, and I never get enough time. When I go from here, leave from this area, and I go to Denver, Colorado. There's a couple of routes I can take. One of the common ones takes me through Wyoming, and so I'll stop in places like that I just sit there and look out when I'm taking a break, and I'm just like, wow, I gotta come back here. I gotta bring my side by side and just go spend a week here in Wyoming, man. Yeah, back mountain, we got a few really nice places. We got this river that's about a half hour from me. To get to this one spot I'm talking about, it takes more like 45, but it's called the McCloud River. And the McCloud River has been changed because it's got 2 dams on it, but downstream from the reservoir, the closest dam, it turns into a fairly good river, and it goes into this protected area, and it's artificial fly fishing only, and there's 36-inch plus browns in there, and it's about 5-mile stretch, and you gotta like do a reservation thing, and I think they only let like eight reservation spots a day on there, so you'll be guaranteed that you'll get a nice stretch of river with some peace. You won't be cheek to cheek with a bunch of people. Nice. Yeah, I'm a big spinner guy for a lot of the rivers, man. I catch most of my most of my salmon up here in the closest river to me with number 6. Number 6 blue fox is typically what I catch those with. I only got 3 feet deep river down to maybe 7 feet at the tops in the stretch that I go for most of the river. Actually, from where I'm fishing, it's like that. So you don't need, you don't need a torpedo style spinner that's going to drop to the bottom. A bell-shaped one like that, like the blue fox, is just fine. Vibramax kind of one. And oh man, it just works. And when I toss those in the river and I let it swing down, it'll feel like I just got snagged. I'll be like, oh man, it just hit it. Well, when I'm trying to retrieve it, it feels like it just hit some seaweed or something like that. And then I'll go to pull it, and then I'm like, wow. Then you get the strongest head shake you ever imagined, and you got a 20-pound plus salmon on. But they never hit it hard. There's never an attack on the tip of your rod. You're like, oh man, I'm snagged. And then nope. Yeah, Gen X, yeah, man, no worries. 32-inch wild brown would be nice. This river I'm in, or sorry, this lake I'm in right now. I caught a 26-inch brown. That was about 2 weeks ago. And I know a couple people that have caught some 30, close to 36-inch ones. Brown is an interesting trout. It's a tough one to really understand. And, you know, they're predatory fish, so they're not biting because, you know, they want to just go eat everything. So here we have to typically use the spinner. I've caught them a lot of times by using these little gulp minnows. And so if you guys are familiar with those, if not, it's just like a little fake fish. Yeah, man, in my opinion, Gen X, they're the best. And they're in the salmon family, so they're not in the family with trout. And so they're in the same family as salmon. And so they're a different genus altogether. They loop them in, they call them trout for just whatever reasons, you know how things end up going. But typically, majority of the time, the meat on those big browns we have here is always pink. Just amazing. And I catch a lot of salmon and steelhead, and you can tell the difference between a salmon and steelhead. But if I was to blindfold most people and give them a piece of salmon and then give them a piece of a real big German brown, they won't tell the difference as long as I cooked it the same way. So if you like real good salmon and you were lucky enough to catch a good brown, and it's going to have that dark meat, the one I caught the other day, each side of it was like, you know, 1.5 inches thick after the bone. So it was just about the size of a normal salmon, and it was the fillets and just the most amazing red color. My daughter took a picture and let the AI program on her phone tell her how rate the meal, basically, she said, and it came back as salmon. It was like, oh, you're eating rice and salmon and vegetables, and it's like, yep. So that's my target fish. But where I'm fishing is, like I said, it's interesting. I need to get a boat. That's my target plan for this summer. It's a little 14-footer. I got a kayak, but I take so much stuff in there and all that stuff that I'm not as sure-footed on my feet. So I was like, I want a little bit bigger boat instead of the kayak. Yeah, it really is. Most of the rivers close to me are that was wind messing with that or not. Most of the rivers that are close to me, the fish have to travel, you know, at least 80 miles. So that tends to mess them up. And if they have a 300-mile journey altogether, then they'll still be in good shape when they come booking by us. But if they're going to be stopping off at a river that's just a little bit past us or something like that, then I'll notice that the salmon around us just really aren't that worth it to eat. So I have to go to the coast and get them when they just come in. And I got like all these Oregon rivers, got the Chetco, got the Winnemucca, I got like the Pistol, then we got the Umpqua, and we got the Rogue. They're all within like a 2-hour journey of each other once you get to the coast. So you can do this river hopping kind of thing where you just go bounce around, and that's about 3.5, 4 hours for me. Grew up in Portland, Oregon. We had it was right on the Columbia and the Willamette. So we had these two beautiful rivers there to fish all the time. And then just a few minutes away is the Sandy River in Clackamas and Troutdale area. Coast was always about come on, fishes. Coast was about an hour away from Portland. So it was fun to river hop there. I want to re-gear up. See what we got. Starting to get a little bit of a darker. The sun's starting to go down a little bit, which is nice. I feel like I'm going to get more fish action. Come on, fishies. Fishing for trout here in Northern California. Hoping to get a big one. I think for a second you were fishing. You know how it goes. There's a lot of channels to bump in and out of. I've been testing different time slots, see who comes in, take a look at different people's ability to be available. Alexander, fast-paced river. That's a challenging one. That gets really, really difficult. I've had to increase my weight always. So if I'm using a spinner, I have to start using my real big heavy spinners. I started notice I fish trout, salmon, steelhead mostly. And when I would be fishing for salmon, and I'm throwing out these gigantic, big 3/4 ounce spinners that got a monstrous 2-aught hook on them, I've probably caught 30 or 40 little 10-inch trout on them. And it will surprise you. Little baby salmons, little cutthroats, little brooks, little rainbows. So I started noticing that, whatever, if you're going for a trout, you don't got to throw the teeniest spinner, because I was like, they'll bite it. Something that's 4 times, they're only 4 times the size of that spinner. They'll still hit that puppy. So when I fish these rivers that get really crazy, I have to start really increasing my weight on there. Oh, getting hit. Getting hit. Oh, might have missed him. Might have missed him. And let me go check that. See if he took my butt. See if he stripped me. Oh, he might have stripped me. Yep. I got to redo that. That was a nice hit, man. He took that down. Took that down. The other thing that happens for me on rivers that get really fast is they tend to be clouded, because there's a lot of water that came in the form of rain, which typically brings a lot of soil in there. So when you're dealing with clouded up water, you got to use a brighter presentation. And so if you're using a spinner, that's the time to use the loudest one you got. If you're using worms, jigs, use the loudest ones you got. You're not using those tame, neutral presentation colors that are very natural looking, because the fish won't be able to see them. Right now, the water's super muddy where I am. And so I tried just a worm and it didn't do much on my bobber. These on the bottom things I'm using uses a marshmallow. And so that big white marshmallow gets their attention. I'm rigging this up right now. I'll get back to comments in a minute. I'll catch that fish that hit that. That was a good fish, probably. Just tagged that puppy. Come on, fishies. Let's get them. Let's nail these fishies. Come on, big trouts. Got about another 20 minutes, and the sun's going to dip behind these trees over here. Chaos. Hey, buddy. Here at the lake, doing some beautiful trout fishing. Got 2 real nice bites so far. Strip the worm right off the hook kind of bites. I use a half a night crawler and a marshmallow. That's my thing. Big bass, boom. Hey, hey. Welcome, everybody. It's a beautiful afternoon. Get into that perfect golden hour. Ooh, just heard a fish to my left, camera left. Isn't it? It's just beautiful right here, right now. Sun's behind me, so it just kind of casts out here in this lake. Wind is calm. Straight in front of us here, where I'm fishing, is probably about 10 feet deep. Circles around, like, because it's kind of like a decent size creek that fills this. I mean, it's big enough to call it a river, but it's not navigable. And so it does an S-turn throughout here and then joins the big part of the lake. Hook you up, big bass. Right about, I'm about right to the left of the screen of what y'all can see. If you continue to go that way on the lake, it starts dropping fast. It was kind of like a canyon that went through here. And it starts up that way, and then it would start getting really deep, but they dammed it and flooded it and made a teeny little lake here. 603. Hey, hey, hey. Doing good, man. Just got here a little bit ago. Got a couple good bites. Hoping for the slammies. Yeah, man, big bass. Hoping for the biggies. They're here. I think it was about a week ago. I brought back a couple, two 20-inch fish from here. Thought one was a German brown at first. I was so amazed. It fought like crazy, pulled drag, and then when I got it into the net, I was getting ready to put it in the net. I was like, "Wow, look at the colors on this fish! It's got spots everywhere." And then I had to bring it up into the full light, and then it's like, "Oh no, it's a rainbow." Trout, personal best trout. German brown is at 26 inch. She was probably like 5-pound fish. About a 28-inch trout, 28-inch rainbow trout. It's probably about a 7-pounder. But 39-inch steelhead. And I've never measured the salmons, but they're usually around 20 pounds. I've caught in that range from 18 to like 20-pound range. I haven't caught any of the giants yet. The river is around me, the Rogue, and then the Umpqua, and then the Chetco. I go there. It's about 3.5 hours to the Chetco. People catch 60-some pound Chinook salmon there, right off the bank. And so, I've gone there during salmon season, and I'm out there. I got all my gear on, and hey, Flash, hey, Alexander, and it was probably about 2 years ago that I was out there standing, and the big parade of salmon come booking up the river, and they're like 60 deep, and they're they're like 4 foot long fish, and they're just massive. It's like a size of a big watermelon thick, and you can just see them when they crest the top, and they're just booking up the river, man. They don't care. I'm throwing everything at them because it's a line of them. So I'm getting the beginning, the middle, the end of the line, trying to get all these fish's attention. They don't want nothing I can say. They don't want nothing I can do, man. They want nothing I can do. And so it's like you have to get lucky with most of those salmon. Oh, I see little baby trout messing around. You have to get lucky. And it's like half the time you irritate them. And like us, if a fly gets in front of your face, you like to swat it away. Well, these big salmon, they don't have hands. So if you get some bait or a spinner or something right in front of their nose, they'll bite at it just because, like us, trying to swat a fly away. So they're not hungry. But the only reason you ever catch them up here in a lot of these rivers is they're just irritated. Yeah, man. Got you hooked up, Alexander. Chris. So yeah, the skill it takes to catch one of these big salmons, it's wow, it's something. Because the fish doesn't want that. Thanks, 516. Appreciate you. Yeah, isn't it something, man? The views just spectacular. I can catch a ton more fish early AM style. I come here like a half hour before light, and I can usually get access to more fish. The views aren't as nice, and I was thinking about that. I was like, oh, other people might just appreciate seeing the sunset here. And then also have the chance to catch one of these giants, man. This lake gets about as deep as like 80 to 100 feet at its deepest. So it's like a slot canyon. Let's say the dam wasn't here, it just would be like a decent sized river. It's the start of what's called the Sacramento River. And yeah. No fakie. And and so like when they dammed it up, there used to be people's property and stuff like that, old farmland. And so every so often we've gone through these droughts, and the lake is just dried up like you wouldn't believe. Old fences and old remnants of the farmland appear. It's kind of cool. Happened on Shasta Lake, south of us by Redding, California. And old like tunnels, old railroad tunnels and things that they used a long time ago that are typically like 50 feet underwater. They all became visible again. People did all these cool YouTube videos on them, and it was kind of like a flashback in history. You could see the routes they used to take, the bridges that were there before they flooded it and changed the whole topography of that lake area. Frenchie, hey. Glad you're here. Glad you all are here. Thanks for just dropping by for a minute, for a second, however long you got. It's just nice to see everyone pop in, get a glimpse of our sunset. We got a few decent bites. Nothing. I got this yellow rod in my hand, just make sure right on the action. But it's just getting to be that perfect little target zone. Yeah, it really is. It's just beautiful. I'm about an hour from the Oregon border. Takes us a couple hours to drive to the coast, but if you're a crow, you could fly to the coast in 45 minutes or so. About 3,500 to 3,600 feet in elevation. So it's not too bad. Yeah. Yeah, Frenchie, absolutely. North Platte, cool. Yeah. If I the road I take to park here, it's my truck is parked kind of like up where the tallest tree is in that you guys can see. Back up there is where my truck is. But that road keeps going, and then it turns into national forest in about a mile or so, and it gets into some pretty good bush, and there's a lot of wilderness, all kinds of things around here. This area isn't too bad. No, Sawyer, nothing yet. No slammies. I got a couple bites, but I haven't got them yet. The next valley over. So we got all these interesting valleys that tend to cut east and west, and there's one major valley that goes north. One of the next ones over, I've taken I got a motorcycle that's street bike, but it's like a dirt bike with a license plate and brakes and everything on it. And so I can load all my gear, my backpack gear up on that, take some extra gas, and I can just head out. And I can head up that valley, and about 10 miles up that road, you're just in the wilderness, man. You're 8 miles from anybody's last house, and there's nothing and nobody out there besides just like the bears and the mountain lions and whatever else lives out there. And those are places like that where I'll just bring I'll bring a what you call it? I won't take a tent. I won't bring all that heavy. I'll just bring some sleeping bags and hammock, that kind of thing, and just hook it on to a couple trees right there. And oh, it's peaceful. It's beautiful. I mean, you got to have your things to defend yourself, and even then, you realize you're like, wow, I'm out here. And I'll take them fishing poles sometimes. You got these wild river, these little creek trout. You're lucky to catch a 12-incher. But it'll be the most colorful thing you've ever seen. Just the purple stripe down the side of these wild trout. And it'll be the best tasting little meal you had. It's like wild experience. It's gotta not have any fear in your head, because normally you get connected to living in a structure around a lot of other humans and having a society and something your phone can get you help with. And you get way out there, your phone doesn't work. I really enjoy it. It's peaceful. I'll go out. I like to rock hound. Come on, fishies. I'm gonna switch directions. Come on, fishies. What do we got? We catch something big for y'all. Oh, that worm's still looking good. Here, fishies. Looking for a giant fishy. Looking for a giant fishy. Yeah, it's really beautiful out here. I had to condition myself a little bit before I learned to move to places like this. You don't have a lot of restaurant choices, very limited grocery stores, and you're an hour away from bigger towns where you can go shopping, if you will. I grew up in Portland, Oregon, where we just had so many choices for restaurants and entertainment and nightlife. Oh, getting hit. I think I got a fish. I got a fish. Oh yeah, I got a fish. Oh, that fast. Oh, I threw the yellow pole out there. There it is. Bam, bam. Fish. What are you doing, fish? Huh, you're trapped. You've been hooked. Well, you've been hooked. You have been hooked. Ooh, here he is. Mr. Flippy, Mr. Floppy, a little foot-long trout. Sweet, let's let him go. Let's let him go. I usually do my best not to touch them. They need their protective slime on them the best they can keep it intact. He's already hooked, so take care, buddy. Giving him hook for another couple seconds usually doesn't hurt him as much as all that slime removal, maybe. Sweet. Glad you guys got to saw that. Fishy, fishy, fishy. Hey, monkey man. Glad you got to see the fish. That was the first one of the day. Yeah. Spot I had him at before just wasn't doing much. As soon as I switched it up, different spot, bam, bam. Yeah, I got to re-gear this up. Get back out there. All right, all right. Let's go get some more fishies. It's fish clobbering time. Let's get him up. Come on, fishy. All right, let's try and catch some more of those beautiful trout. I'll try and catch up on chat. Monkey man, let me hook you up so you can say hi easier. Looked like I saw Sail was here. Sail, the whiskey. So nice to have you around. Oh yeah, man, it's my beautiful little spot close to home. Frenchie, I'm using a nightcrawler and worm. I'm sorry, nightcrawler and marshmallow. Worm. Nightcrawler is a worm. And yeah, I take the marshmallows and I soak them. A lot of times I use different things. I'll use corn. I'll use garlic. I'll use a few different like scents that you can just kind of get. And I just buy my own generic mini marshmallow. Soak them. I got tired of going and spending so much money for these little marshmallows that are scented and got glitter on them. It's like, oh, I can just make that myself. Like I'm getting a couple little tips. Oh, I'm so glad, man. Glad people come sub you up, Back Mountain. That's what it's all about. It's such a fun community. It's like everyone grows together. All get to share and enjoy each other's videos. I was watching Trapper Scotty's one of his videos, and he was lining up like this 600-yard shot, and I was just like amazed. I'm an adequate hunter, but I was like, wow, 600-yard shot would be very difficult for me. I was just amazed at watching some other people's videos. Yeah, I could see that, Back Mountain, and then the hours, the way I look at accomplishing things in this world, people call it manifesting around my parts, is I put it out in the universe of what I'm trying to accomplish, and I focus on it, and I put energy towards creating that, but I don't stress about it, and I don't think about it all the time and dwell on it and create an energy of nervousness around it. It'll all unfold when it's supposed to unfold, how it's supposed to unfold, and that's worked for me. And so I have trust, I have belief, usually whether we're being a good person or a bad person, you always find yourself being taken care of. You find a way to eat, you find a way to have everything you need. And so we managed to find a way to take care of ourselves. So why fuss over that? And just keep focusing on what you want to create and put beautiful energy, positive energy, all the energy you would put in stressing or anything like that. I try not to stress too bad. I own a store here in the town I live in, and we have a big change. The last like 4 years from where things were before so many changes in 2020 happened, and yeah, caught a few little fish. Nothing too big though. Yeah. Yeah. Nice little trout.
What's your bait?
Worms. Just worms. Oh yeah, I catch a lot of pretty fish here. Yeah. Big fish. Good fish. Nice, beautiful older couple walking by. Oh, you should. You'll catch good ones. It's got to be in the right area. That's funny. She hasn't caught a thing. She was saying she's tried right where I'm fishing. Who knows, huh? Yeah. Yeah, the world of that we live in, it's so competition based. It's an interesting reality at times. You can't just sit back. You got to push yourself, got to push your product, got to if you're in a competitive business, you got to push it to stay in the game and stay on top of whatever you're doing. So that can be an interesting reality that we can kind of get wrapped up into, like the hustle of life. I want to make sure, something like fishing always stays fun, never becomes too much of a work-related experience. So I was watching, I think it was Justin at Thunderstruck. It seemed like it was just seemed like it was yesterday that he had a big, almost 1,000 stream that he did. And then I'll peek in now. I think he's like, it's like maybe 1,500, I think, something like that now. And so it just seems like it goes by fast. It'll be like, wow, trying to help somebody get to 1,000, and then you look around and they're fully monetized now. And all right, I had to redo this line. It kind of messed me up. Now we're getting into that beautiful time of night, I tell you. Let's try and redo that one. The fish here are really good to eat. A lot of these holdover fish are just the pinkest, most amazing trout. I'll fish it all throughout the year. I tend to collect the most in September. Monkey man, absolute. Nothing but good folk. Fishing community, good people, man. Prospectors, that prospecting community I see, and all things country, man, they're solid. Good feet, good people, man. Remember growing up and the world was a little more reserved. People didn't share as much information. People kind of kept their business stuff to themselves. They didn't want to share everything because that meant that they would have less chance of being successful themselves. Now it's so beautiful. You watch communities like the fishing community, and you can ask any question anybody has, and they'll share any information there is. I've never fished for carp. Only caught catfish on accident. And I was watching Fishies live earlier, and he was showing his little bait box connected to his line, and I'd seen other people show like these dual hook setups for catching carp, and so different looking than setups that I'm familiar with. And it's like they were talking about how the carp was so picky that if it felt resistance on there, that it wouldn't continue to bite. And I was like, oh, okay, so that's why this one guy was talking about using two hooks. And I saw Fishy set up earlier, and I was like, oh, okay, I see. So it makes sense. You have to modify everything so much. I've never caught like the walleye or the muskie, and never done that ice fishing. I'm out here in the Pacific Northwest, so we got all these inlet rivers on the coast, and they go, 200 miles or so inland. Columbia, all the way to Idaho. It'll go way out there, but pretty much the same fishing. Biggest thing is sturgeon. Yeah, ice fishing seems pretty interesting, with the right conditions. Little hut, be able to warm yourself. You got all your amenities in there. It's like, man, what's not to love? Just like hanging out. But then you get the chance of catching something cool. And we had a real couple cold spells come through here, and we had this lake I'm at now froze over, not big enough to walk on, but we got one called Castle Lake right up another 7 miles up the hill. You got to drive up the mountain to get to it, and it's fishable, ice fishing all year in the winter, but I don't have an auger. And so I watched one guy do it with just like a drill, his little power drill. And he was talking about, it took us half hour, 40 minutes to drill a couple holes. And I was like, wow. So, I looked into them, and those augers are a couple $100 to get a nice one. You get a cheapie for like 120, it seemed like. But I was like, wow. Wasn't what I was hoping for. It was like, just go grab an auger or something real quick. Just because I'm not too serious about ice fishing, but I was like, oh, maybe I'll give it a shot, see what it's like. Oh, that's cool. Seems like carp is an interesting fish. It gets a bad rap. I see some people talk about they never eat it, and I see certain Asian communities eat it, and I see some people put it down. Other people are like, oh, it's just fine. We got this fish called smelt that comes in and let the smelt run. They'll come in these rivers, and there'll just be an endless amount of them. And they're like a 10-inch fish. It's in the mackerel family. It's like a little mini trout. It's super oily. When I was a kid, growing up in the 70s, there's times when my parents didn't have a ton, and so we would go get those things for food. And you're allowed like 5-gallon. You're allowed like dip nets worth. You just go use your net to catch these things. And I remember like a lot of people would put you down, and they'd be like, "Oh, you guys eat those smelt?" And it was like there was something wrong with you because you like that fish. And It's a good fish, cooked right. That smelt was a good fish. It was oily. You could fry it up really good, and the skin. It's just like a miniature version of trout, and so the skin gets all crunchy and crispy, like a salmon skin. You just eat the whole skin. It's fried in butter and dipped in a flour. So what's not to like? But like I said, that was the 70s. But it seems like carp gets kind of a similar rap. I notice the people that enjoy them, sometimes people will give them attitude. Couple catfish that I've caught here, I've looked at and I'm like, oh, there's no chance I would eat you. You look like a really weird fish, man. Come on, fishy fishies. It's nice to have everyone visiting. Appreciate you in this world. Listening, popping in. Hope everyone's night's been great. I know you're all around the world, different spots, so it could be morning for you. We're about an hour from darkness here. Yeah, I would try it. I would try it, fishy. I when I was 16, my dad lived in Illinois. This little place called Lake Sarah, where the 57 and the 70 come together. And so we'd catch catfish, bass, a bunch of stuff like that. And my dad would like it. He loved to eat that stuff. So he'd just deep fat fry that puppy up. He'd take those catfish and he'd cook them like fried chicken. It'd be the breading and all that stuff. And like, it was all right. Had a strong kind of flavor. Yeah. That's what I love about these, about the salmon is the fight. And so when I watched you guys catching those carp, the catfish looks like it might just be the weight. I don't see a lot of pulling and like a lot of drag. Like that fish just beelines out of there. But it looks like when people get a big cat on, they got a fight on their hands because they're pulling something heavy. It's like snagging a giant tire. You got a big fight to pull something heavy up out of the water. But like the salmon and the steelhead are here. I mean, they'll just tear ass. They don't want to sit around, and they'll spool you, and they'll be gone, and you'll be getting nervous because you're like, man, they're going down river or they're going up river, and they're just booking. And so that's what I notice. And the carp looks like it's kind of an in-between guy. Like it looks like it gives you a good fight. He doesn't just lay there. The German Browns we have here, that's what I love about them, is that they'll give me a fight like you wouldn't believe. I'll be, it'll be 5 minutes to pull in one of them big giants. And they got just have a whole different body being a salmon family. They're a challenge. They're a challenge to pull in. They're a challenge to dress, everything like that. It's like the fish just doesn't want to pass away. It's like, nope. It's a real interesting experience. Got some big bass here. I think I've seen maybe 8-pounders. I've never really had too much of a reason in the past, but now I'm thinking about dusting my bass game up a little bit. I'll sit right where I'm at, right past where that net is. You guys can see it. I'll watch these giant bass swim by. There'll be 2 of them sometimes, and they'll have 3 or 4 of them behind them, little guys. But they'll be, 19, 20-inch long bass that are just thick and real tall looking. And at first I'm like, whoa, what is that? I got to look at that weird fin that they have, that tall, skinnier shape to them. I was sitting here last fall, something massive splashed, and I saw this little looked like a trout, maybe like a little 7-inch trout swimming for his dear life. This giant bass almost had him, man. Had him. that bass like whoosh, right up out of the water, just missed that whole fish. And I was like, whoa, little dude, man. He was like scared for his life. Look at these big fish. Come on, fishy fishes. Come on, giant fishes. Whew. The wind is kicking up. Come on, big fish. Where's the big fish at? Where's the big fish at? I don't know, man. Like between the full moon, St. Patty's Day, and I think we got the spring equinox tomorrow. Fish up here have just like taken the week off. They're on strike. They're like, hey man, I'm out. I keep getting these little bites, but like not a serious contender, like willing to just tag the line. Looks like that's what I saw fishy you were getting at earlier and the day before. Last time I saw you fish too. It was just like just some teasers. I was watching Grease. That might have been last night. We were watching Grease on the glow stick. Same deal. He was just getting hit. But these little tease guys, nobody committing. It's like, that's what I was noticing. I was getting hit, but there's a few different styles. There's the one where they really commit and like it's fish on. Then there's one where they can just strip the worm right off the hook. And I get this little 3 trout peck, pep kind of guy. That usually leads to the power hit right after that, because you might tighten up your line or something like that. Be prepared after you get that little trout peck, and then you can set it when you feel the next massive hit coming. Probably one of the reasons I liked spinner so much, running the spoon, running the cool spinner. It's because when the hit's there, it's just on. I think I was mentioning it earlier, but I do these things, the gulp minnow. It's just a dead little guy, like a little plastic minnow, and they put them in this weird sanded stuff, and you just thread it onto your hook and use like a bullet weight on your line, and so the bullet weight ends up looking like the nose of this fish, and so then you just kind of twitch it up and down, and you toss it way out there and let it fall down to the bottom. Yeah, it really has. It's been a very interesting week of fishing, man, I tell you. And so that gulp minnow, it works really well, and you can get these little 2-inch guys up to like 4 or 5-inch little imitation fish. And I've caught a lot of fish here when nothing else works with those. It just kind of gets that predatory action going. A few years back, I was across the way over there fishing. There was this young couple, like throwing everything they could at it. Spinners, all kinds of stuff, man. Sweet. Broke the skunk. Darn right. Yeah, so this couple was just sitting there and they weren't catching nothing. And so I was fishing those gulp minnows and using the 2.5-inch little guys. And I was just catching fish after fish after fish. I was up to like a dozen trout that I'd caught. They're just looking over at me every time I catch a fish. They're throwing in the same spot, catching nothing. I'll throw my little gulp minnow guy over there. One, pow, got a fish. Pow, got a fish. Pow, got a fish. And these kids were like, "What's this old dude doing, bro?" It was hilarious. And because this place will just be so interesting, man. You never know. That's why I have like, I think four to six rods typically that I have with different stuff on them. My all-time favorite is using just worm on a bobber. I use these floats that are they're more like river floats, so they're adjustable float, and I like the shape of them. I like the casting of them. I've gotten used to them. They're not the styrofoam river floats that are black with a little orange guy, and they're a harder balsa kind of wood painted. I've just gotten so used to those that I don't ever use any other kind of float anymore. And so that's my all-time favorite out here. But when the water gets deep like this, then that isn't very easy to do. Uh-oh, that was a hit. That's a fish. That's a fish. We got a fish. It feels like a small fry, but we got a fish. He's not pulling any drag or nothing. Oh, he's not too happy now. Once I got him close in, he's like, no, bro, I'm not happy. Oh, unhappy fish. Unhappy fish. Ooh, he's a pretty one. Pretty fish. Probably female. Oh, relax. Let everybody see you real fast. Say, hey, everybody. Say, hey, everybody, I'm a fish. I gotta go. Uh-oh, catch that line. I gotta get this fish off before it gets unhappy with me. All right, fish off. We had fish on. And we got fish off. Sweet. Fish number two. Fish number two. Fish number two. Gotta fix this line. Yeah, we got the end of April till I can oh, what did I snag? That's not a good snag. It's like a tree branch. Yep. Tree branched me. Yeah, we got to the end of April till the rivers here open up. And I got about 4 or 5 creeks and rivers that I'm excited about trout fishing. Yeah, ice fishing looks really interesting. This place here is it's got a fish hatchery right down the road, so they stock it a lot, and then seems like if they have fish they just want to get rid of or something, they'll toss it in here. It's about 4 years ago they brought these giant fish in here. They're all like around 20 inches. They were all breeders, and so they do this weird thing called triploid at the hatcheries here, which is they run this weird light thing over the fish, and so it sterilizes them when they're in their egg form. So they'll grow up and they will try to reproduce. They'll make eggs and they'll try to breed them and fertilize them like a normal fish, but nothing happens. Nothing grows. So the fish here create eggs. They lay eggs. The males want to fertilize the eggs and all that good stuff. So they released those fish from the hatchery into this place, and they were just full of eggs. I mean, just full. I got more eggs in 1 week than I had in previous like 3 years combined. There was a guy here that was just like milking the fish. He was just catching giant fish after fish, and he would just take the giant females and just hold them by the tail and then just milk them and just had this big bowl, and he would just extract the eggs, toss the fish back out in the water. Was they were not fun fish to eat. That's for sure though. It was cool to get all those eggs. I was able to process and make lots of cool fun things with them, but they were when the fish stay in the hatcheries for that long, where they're like 18, 20-inch fish, they've been living in this swimming pool basically, and they tend to have a lot of sores. It looks like they bump their nose. It's kind of like fish in too small of a fish aquarium. They just don't have room to grow, and so they're overcrowded and they're smacking into the walls constantly trying to escape. So majority of the fish that I would catch, I was like, ooh, I don't want to eat that. Ooh, I wouldn't eat that fish. They're fun to catch. Yeah, that's about it, man. Sometimes I'll make dog food, and I'll take some of the fish. I'll take a salmon, for example, if I catch one, and it's not the best condition. Bring home a 20-pound salmon that's just got pretty messed up colored meat, and I'll take that, cook a bunch of rice, a bunch of other things like that, and just mix it all together, and then make little like cake patties, then put them in my food dehydrator, and then make like a little dog biscuit, little food treat. Wanted to start learning how to make dog food because I don't have them, but a bunch of my friends have big dogs, and I figured, hey, a lot of fish, a lot of excess fish at times, and a lot of fish stuff and parts that aren't really the best for me, but other animals would eat them. And so I was also thinking like self-sustainability. If the world ever came to where we needed to do a lot more trade in this world, I was like, I'll make you guys some dog food. I'll trade you for your pelts. I gotta re-rig that line that broke. Yeah. That's the road up there I was telling you about that I drive on. Another mile down that way is the Forest Service. Get out in the serious bush. About another mile down the road. I watched a show a while back, a Bigfoot show. There's across the way, it's a different road, but it's about a mile from here. And this gal talked about Bigfoot coming, bugging, trying to get in her house. And she was an ex-forest ranger, and so she knew all the animals that lived everywhere. And her tale was a long one about how these things kept coming. They kept trying the front door. They kept like messing with the doorknob and stuff like that. They'd make weird noises and things that were very loud. And she was an ex-ranger, so she was a confident lady. And that's just basically on the backside of this lake. It's a stretch of wilderness that just goes on and on and on. I had a friend who said he saw a Bigfoot, and he hit. My friend was a trustworthy guy, good guy, no reason to lie to me, and he said he teleported kind of thing, just appeared out of nowhere. And there was like a big group of these people that were there doing meditation and stuff. This mountain, Mount Shasta, that I live by, I live at the base of it. It's a spiritual mountain, so we get the spiritual pilgrimage from all over the world. And yeah, that forest ranger chick, man, she said there's no bear, it ain't no cat, it ain't no this, it ain't no that. And I see the bear up here all the time, man. And they're noticeable. They're particular. They boogie. If I take the other route, instead of turning off on the road you just saw that car on, which gets me to this side of the lake, if I take the other route, it goes around the other side of the lake, and then it goes all the way up into the mountains, and it goes into like the serious bush, and there's some lakes up there. And I was up there in September. We were all, much of us were camping up there. And I saw a few bears. And when you round about, they see you on the road, they boogie, they book, they want nothing to do with you. And so that lady on the show, she talked about it being, making all these weird noises. But I mean, when it's on a show, I have to wonder if people just want attention, and then they're creating something just to tell you a story. But my buddy, on the other hand, he had no reason to lie. And he wasn't searching for it. He wasn't going on the line. He wasn't trying to tell people, hey, look at me, this is what happened to me. This is the town I live in. It's like one of the most paranormal places in the world. It's the highest paranormal activity spot of any city that we have in America. And so there's all these weird tales and lures and underground cities and alien ships and weird things that people say they see and they don't see. And so it brings a very interesting crowd. My business partner, I used to joke him. I was like, man, we need to create like a Wingnut of the Year award, because we get like these interesting characters, man. They just come into our town and they'll be just hanging out, and they got like some spiritual high, and they lost their mind. It's what it looks like. And they'll go around saying and talking and some weird stuff, kind of like the end times are coming, y'all need to repent. But way worse than that. We had a guy who used to go around wearing chicken bones. He'd have a chicken bone like in his nose, like a nose ring. He'd have chicken bones in his ears, and he was just like so way out there, man. I'm like, bro, chicken bone wins. He wins the Wingnut of the Year award, bro. He's just like the trippiest dude you ever see. So it's not like your average down and out kind of person we encounter in our town. We get these like types that are like kind of way out there in the fringe of the world, bro. They think, they'll tell you a spiritual tale that it's like, wow, man, what kind of psychedelics you been doing, bro? And so it's a mix between a spiritual town and then this like beautiful mountain. And so we got this development they've been doing for like bicycling. They made all these cool downhill run kind of bike trails and all this cool infrastructure for these what do they call them? Forget the name of them. I think it's like in May they have these massive bike races here, and they bring in people from all over the world. They set up all these cool tracks. So it's a little mix of the mountain, bringing the nature people, hunting, fishing, wanting to ski and climb, then all this spiritual tourism. In the winter, it's time to like be quiet and reflect. We make a lot of our own art in our store. So we'll make a year supplies, if you will, of stuff. We don't have to deal with the customers so much. So we have a lot more free time to work in the back and try to generate what we're going to need throughout the whole summer. And then when the summer gets crazy and hectic, people want your attention all the time, then we're not in the middle of doing creations no more. We can give them our time. There's weird things around here that are very hard to explain, you know, and that I've followed tracks most of my life and just kind of been an avid, you know, tracker kind of person who's got decent skills. And I'd go up on the mountain here, and it's only about 8,000 feet high or so, and I would find these tracks, and they were the weirdest things ever. They would start out of nowhere because this was snow. It was like 6 inches of snow everywhere, so it was super easy to follow everything. These tracks would start. They would look like rabbits, and I could tell by the lop pattern and everything like that. They would start, and then they would go for like 40 feet, and then they just disappear. There was no impact where it didn't look like they got swooped down by an owl or an eagle, because they usually, when that happens, they impact the snow. And there was cougar prints all around, so I knew the mountain lion was right there, but there was no other tracks around them. So sometimes I've seen some of the weirdest things up here, where I'm like, huh. I don't know how that happened. I could not explain how these tracks just started and stopped out of nowhere. So that's about the weirdest thing I've seen, personally. It's mysterious, cosmic jackrabbit tracks that had no explanation for how they got there. But I've come to the point of not questioning anybody else's, definitely not judging anybody else's opinion or beliefs. If they believe in it and it works for them, then that's great. So there's this big lore of like this underground city called Telos, the town I live in, and there's a lot of tourism based around it. People, you can pay hundreds of dollars to get a guided meditation, and the people that connect to it and believe it, oh, getting hit. Oh man, I missed that one. They believe in it, and they have validity, and they have connection, they have love and honor, and their experience with all of it. And so it's not my job to judge. It doesn't make sense with me. It doesn't quite resonate. But I've gotten that point in life where it's like, there's no need for me to judge others, especially how they find beauty in life. But, you know, 100 and some years ago, there was a lot more snake oil salesmen in the world. There was a few people, the Count of St. Germain being one of them, that created a lot of these interesting tales of things that happened around here. And if you really take the time, I watched a show called Y-Files. It's just great, man. I love Y-Files. Little hecklefish. And they'll explain to you. They'll give you the whole tale. They'll do an hour-long show, and they'll tell you the whole lore of this and that. And then he'll really do a deep dive into St. Germain. And it seemed like I said, like 100 years ago, there was a lot of charlatans that just created these stories so they could write a book. And they could be. It was not as easy to prove anything. We didn't have phones. We didn't have cell phones like we do. And so you could say you saw something and, you know, write a book about your incredible experience that you had, you know, with being from another realm or planet, or going inside to the mountain and some such and such reality, and you'd write some book about it, and you'd make a lot of money. And there was no way to prove you right, and there was no way to prove you wrong. It was just, you know, a tale. And that's why, like, a lot of times when I hear people say some pretty miraculous things nowadays, I'm like, well, if that was so, don't you think we'd have, I mean, in these days with cameras, don't you think we'd have a picture of Bigfoot? So that's what I've noticed, is that when a lot of these lores were written, crystal skulls, you know, these Indiana Jones movie about the crystal skulls and all these things like that. If you watch the shows that are right on them, they'll show you the truth on them, show you how someone created the story because they basically wanted to make a bunch of money. And then you end up getting like a mini cult following behind it because they think, oh, getting hit. It's that time of night, man. I'm getting the hits. Wasn't even able to cast another rod out. I often wonder if there was a time when humans developed a certain way, and there was like, say, a genetic mutation that they might have switched the path of evolution, and primates started becoming a little more evolved. And then I wonder if there was a type that did not become evolved and stayed more primate, ape-like. So I've often wondered if that is what Bigfoot was. Was it an ancient ancestor that did not become Homo sapien and have the brain develop the way ours developed? That's been my thought most of my life, but most people's theories is that it has some kind of portal, some kind of phasing ability, and it just phases in and out of this reality. And I'm a giant Star Trek guy. So I've seen a handful of different things that have that ability in Star Treks, and from watching those old Star Treks where they had little tricorder devices. They had, these things that are basically like our cell phones nowadays. A lot of the things they had in the original 60s Star Trek are things that we have nowadays. They even have things, I've even watched them, they can even teleport things. They can make them move small distances. Not humans yet, but they actually have teleportation. So I often thought about that, like, those old sci-fi things just gave us a glimpse of what was coming. I'm gonna catch this fish. It's fishy time. Let's catch this fish. Yeah, exactly. Those are interesting tales. I've studied so many different things, and I just gather a bunch of information. Still in the gathering, stage. I haven't formed conclusions yet. I gather a little bit from any source of knowledge, especially spiritual stuff. Just see what fits. As long as it's not subservient, as long as it doesn't take your power away. I appreciate the type of spirituality that encourages you to find your own. I believe the internal path is where you find heaven or hell. And it's not necessarily an external place, but it's an internal way of looking at life. You can be here and be living in a living hell, or you can create a heaven for yourself. And so I kind of believe like that's what we experience here. The afterlife, I'm still uncertain about. I don't know if there's really... There's a lots of opinions about what happens in the afterlife. We have religious opinions. I studied like people who did hypnotherapy. They would do past life regression. They would bring people back, and they ended up having common threads. A couple motorcyclists out here having a blast. And so there was interesting common threads that people had about past life regression when the hypnotherapists would study them. And they would find, over and over and over that there was very, very common experiences, looking at your sins, if you will, looking at the experience you had here on earth and how it affected others. reviewing if you accomplished the things you set out here to do, hanging out with like what they would call it, like your soul family. And then a lot of people, if they would choose it, would choose like a reincarnational experience to grow again. And so this ended up being, ooh, that's a pretty cormorant. Just came in. These books I read were they you know, they studied thousands of people, and this was the common thread experiences that they had. So I listened to that, and I'm like, okay, well, that's what these people say that they experienced, and then when they recalled, you know, before birth. So I don't know. I guess every individual finds out when they go there. I don't know if you saw that guy fly by, but the cormorant just came by. He's one of my favorite birds. Come on, big fishies. At that perfect time. I'm going to keep a hold of this yellow rod so I don't miss the strike. Ooh, there's the osprey. We got a little fish. Seagull. Oh, ospreys sure are beautiful. Probably one of my favorite things to do when I fish is to sit out here and pay attention to all the different birds. Got a handful of good bird calls down. Come on, fishies. Switch this up. Yeah, you got it, fishy. What's the joke? Oh, cormorant. Cormorant's over here hollering at me. Cormorant. Big fishy, fish eye view. Fishy, fishy is looking at you. Mr. Fishy. Ask the fish. Oh, Mr. Fish, can I have your wish? I'd like to get up that stream. Oh, what are we going to do about that dam, Mr. Fish? Come on, giant fish. Whoa. All right, Fishy. I think I'm going to call it a stream, buddy. I want to go stretch, get a little food in me. Body's calling me. I think it's just you and I hanging out here at the moment. So I'll check in the morning when you do your live tomorrow, and I'll get that joke from you then, bug guy. Appreciate you being here. You're a godsend in this world. Keep shedding light. Be good. Be good to your fam. Be good to everybody you know in this world. Hey, I love you, Indigo. I'll see you soon, sweetie. Fishy, that's my little daughter popping in and saying hi. Love you, yeah. All right, Fishy. Take care, buddy. Bye. Bye, you.